We all know that the new building is under construction, but this is not the reason why this movie was made. The real reason is because these people, Marion, Reineke, and Wilfred, and the mysterious Yolanda, have some amazing secrets to share that could make the lives of students much, much easier.
The first hint, very important hint, no copy-paste. It's a big problem in student reports. Students find it difficult to explain things in their own words, so they copy the information that they find and they paste it in the report. And it's often a reason why reports get rejected by teachers. And of course it's difficult in the beginning to express yourself in English on paper, to explain everything in your own words in English. But we don't mind if the English is not very good in the beginning. You have to practice that, so no copy-paste.
Generally, if you can find a document that has an author, like a name, someone who wrote it, or some persons who wrote it, a document that has a title, a document that was published in a year, 2009 or 2008, tend to be of a higher quality than just some website where you don't know who wrote it. That's some sort of rule of thumb. Go for something where you know who wrote it.
Report writing is something you have to practice a lot. So, and I think that even when you start working and you work for 5 years and you look back, you see an enormous improvement in your own writing skills. So it's a continuous struggle, and it takes really years to improve that.
A lot of information can be found in the syllabus, because we often have assessment forms in the syllabus that express which things we are going to look at if we want to grade a report. So if you read the syllabus well, if you look at the assessment forms, then already you have a lot of information about how you need to write the report. What are the things that we are going to look at?
Cite it in such a way where you write, where you don't just give a link to a website, but you write down the author names, the title of the publication, the year of publication, what institute they work on, for instance, those kind of things.
We do know that there are a lot of redos in the beginning, but we think it is our quality as a university to give a lot of feedback to students, even though it's annoying for students because you have to improve over and over again, but that's how you learn.
Be a professional. So you shouldn't think, oh, it's a school report and as long as the teacher is satisfied, then it's okay. You have to think about, suppose that I'm a professional and I have a client or a customer or somebody else that needs to read this report, and I need to convince him or her that I'm a professional and that I know what I'm talking about.
I think students are too shy to actually call companies and ask for feedback on their letters or their requirements, and I think that is one of the reasons why it takes so long. And I think also students tend to postpone these activities because they're hard to do. And I also see that students who are very persistent or pursuing really, they always succeed. So it's also very much depending on the students' capacities to struggle on and find something. And we always, every year we see the students who really have an aim and want something, they always achieve what they want.
I think if you look for an internship, you have to find a position or a company that you feel passionate about, and find something that you're really interested in, because if you do something or you start going into a certain direction, then that doesn't really have any purpose if it's not a direction that you feel happy about.
We want students to go through that phase, like the frustration, because it's up to you. And if you have finished our program, you also have to find yourselves a job or something else, and then you have to go through the same phase. So we see it as part of our philosophy to make students responsible for their own internship, and that includes frustration and hard times to find an internship.
No, well, I can tell you now because I'm getting older now, so you sort of realize that I've seen lots of people who do things that they aren't happy about, and then sort of in a flash your life is sort of passing you by and you're stuck in a job with experience of a certain type of job that you might not enjoy doing, and then all of a sudden it becomes quite late to go and change things. So I would, from the outset, I would give a student the advice to do something that he really enjoys doing and that rings his or her bell, because if you don't, no, you're going to work most of your life. What do they do wrong first is they copy letters off the internet, and that is wrong. You should write an original letter, and you should put a little bit of yourself in that letter, so it should be a more personal letter, not your standard type of letter. And I would say same goes for your CV. You have to make your CV stand out a little bit, and give a good impression of who you are. You shouldn't just have a standard CV that lists all your qualifications and experience. You should show who you are, really. It's quite easy.
We offer students a lot of freedom because we do expect students to be able to focus themselves on the task they need to do. And obviously students have to deal with that freedom, and it's not always easy because there are a lot of other things you need to do.
Study together, like this. If you make an appointment with your fellow student and you decide to go together, to sit together and work together, that's more motivating than when you have to do it on your own. And there's somebody who you have an appointment with and you have to stick to your appointments, so that might help you a bit in studying instead of doing other things.
Things that not always are easy to start with. It's most easy if you create for yourselves a routine, like I always study in the library on Wednesday and Thursdays. And if you make this a routine for yourself, it's more easy to work like that.
If you're working on some courses and you think, these courses I don't like, generally that is, you don't fully understand it. So the better you understand a topic, usually the nicer it is to work at something, because then it gets more fun, then you get to solve a problem.
And another thing that's very demotivating is if you don't understand the subject matter. And what we often see with students is they don't really feel like asking questions, and then they don't understand the subject matter, they don't do their homework, and then they fail the course. If you ask questions, if you don't understand things, then you might understand things better, and that motivates you always. So even if it might be a bit of a boring subject, when you understand it, when you know how to do it, it always gets more interesting, it's nicer to do it.
And if you decide every day, am I going to study? What am I going to do? Or am I going to attend a class or not? If you make it like a routine, it's more easy to follow, and then it takes less willpower to actually prolong with your studies and spend time.
Be curious, but most of it is just work hard enough. Work hard, that's it. Usually students if you put in enough time, then most students manage to pass most courses or pass the courses.
We do have a library where you can work, We have rooms there where people who want to work quietly, who don't want to talk, can sit, so you're not bothered by other people. And if you go to school from 9 to 5, then often there's not much left to do in the evenings or in the weekends. And of course, if you don't have any classes, it's difficult to get out of bed in the morning and decide to go to school at 9 o'clock. But if you do that, if you really work from 9 to 5, you just go to the building, even if you don't have classes, go sit there behind a computer, do your homework, then you will be a lot more successful than when you just show up when you have an appointment here and you have to do everything in the evenings or during the night.
Good personality traits, I would say, is having an internal locus of control. So being able to manage your own behavior and not relying on external factors to sort of make you happy or to motivate you. You have to have your own motivation to keep studying, because obviously there are moments where you really don't want to study, or you'd rather go and sit in a bar and drink a beer or be with friends or do lots and lots of other things. But I think if you have that internal locus of control where you are in control of your life and your own motivation, because you know you're going to finish something and how fantastic that's going to make you feel, and that's really, I think, the most important thing.